Whoever played Teddy Perkins this episode, yeah, that man needs a whole Oscar and a half.
Hey, whoa, whoa.
Hey y'all, it's producer, and today I'm coming at y'all with episode 6 review of season 2 of Atlanta, Teddy Perkins. This episode was creepy. And to accentuate on this creepiness, this episode had no ads. When I first heard about it on Twitter, I was like, oh shoot, this is gonna be so cool. This was like Get Out Point 2. I mean, Get Out 2.0. I was like, oh no. But yeah, so this episode starts off with Darius in the shop, the convenience store, and he sees a hat while he's buying. It's another one of them stupid Confederate flag hats. But he does something different. He buys it, but by the way, he buys it with a pen, and that's $10. Rip off. But he buys it with the pen, and he scratches out some letters in the phrase Southern Made. So it just says, "You mad." Yeah. So he's trolling, first of all. Second of all, I mean, that's something I would do. But at the same time, I would not. That's, I don't know, maybe for like a joke, but whatever. How many times would I wear it? But yeah, that was funny. And then, so apparently he goes in the pickup truck. He's on a truck to pick up something up. And so he goes to the person's house. And so he knocks on the person's house, but the door is open. It wasn't locked. And what I've learned from like all these scary movies is that if a door isn't locked when it's supposed to be, you just don't go in. You could be like, oh well, the guy gave him permission to come in, so he could have just already unlocked it. Okay, but that's a little unsettling for me. Not with my black ass. Not with his black ass. But yeah, so speaking of black asses, when Darius walks in, he sees the owner of this house, Teddy Perkins, and he looks like he's wearing a whole mask. I thought that was a mask this whole episode, but no, that is him. What's that? Not the whole episode, but like I first thought it was a mask. When he started speaking, I was like, that is not a mask. It is moving. Like when he speaks, that face is moving. That's his real face. And so I was like, okay, so that's some white face. That is some white face. That was eerie. Well, I shouldn't say white face. Like it just looked too fake, you know? I thought the person was white. I say white face because later on, we see older videos of the person, and we're like, oh shoot, this is a Negroid. Why did I say Negroid? But yeah, this is a whole black person. But anyway, face looks weird, and then he invites him to the parlor, and he's like, I've never been to a parlor before, and I'm like, same. Only parlor I've been to is the one in Luigi's Mansion. But yeah, and he starts talking about this egg. He's like, I don't want an egg. So he eats it all by himself. And this was the most, not that this was disturbing, but it was unsettling. He just kept hitting it and hitting it. And I'm sitting here like, why can't you just crack it normal like a normal person? All right, because you're not a normal person. And they start talking about rap and how rap isn't good or whatever. And Darius, with, Paperboy's friend, starts defending rap. I'm like, rap isn't that bad. But that leads to a conversation about like famous pianists, because apparently he knows a bunch of them because he plays piano a lot, which we found in this episode. He has a whole obsession with pianists and pianos himself. There's a bunch of these old artists. I shouldn't say old; they're not really that old, but they're not contemporary. And he's just talking about his brother, and I was like, why do I feel like you're Benny? And you're just making up this whole story. That just didn't add up. And so he leaves him to get him some water that he was promised, but he didn't get. Okay. Anyway, and what I'm shook about is he was watching him this entire time. Well, maybe not the entire time, but like there were cameras. And he's watching Darius. I'm like, what you watching Darius for? That's not adding up. And you know what else isn't adding up? when Darius hears piano music, he supposed to investigate. He's like, "Oh, that sounds cool," but then the guy's like, "Oh no, you must not come in. You're gonna disturb Benny." And I'm like, "Well, the camera clearly shows that Benny isn't there. So, what's the tea?" So, I don't know if I've noticed. If you, I say it's Get Out 2.0, but this is really Get Out 2.0. There's so many references, and one of them is the what's the rod call, but instead of rod, it's Paperboy, and this has a whole bunch of what's it called, comic relief in this episode, and I'm just confused how they never heard of Sammy Sosa, but whatever. Paperboy starts talking to him. He's like, "You need to get out," and I'm like, "You do need to get out. It's not worth it." And excuse me, I almost said Gambino. Whatever. Gambino shows him what Sammy Sosa looks like. And I'm like, "Oh," and they start frying Sammy Sosa up. You know, he looked like that. The head of a white penis. Yeah, the head of a white penis. And I was like, "Oh yikes." Oh yikes! But he, but yeah, that guy definitely did look like Sammy Sosa, and Sammy Sosa does not look healthy with all that bleaching. I mean, I would make this a bit. I would talk about colorism and self hatred or whatever, but we ain't got time for that. Okay, there's probably other videos about that. We here to find out about this fake Sammy Sosa looking ass nigga. So yeah, um, he walks in because the guy motions him back inside the house. And but when he walks in this one room, what's his face? Teddy Perkins, whatever. Teddy Perkins. I was calling Molly Perkins, but yeah. Teddy takes a picture of Darius, and he was like, "I don't really like photos." Another, you know, reference to Get Out. But that shit was weird. And then he showed this picture of this other person doing whatever, and I'm like, and so he says he wants to convert the house into a museum. I was like, that's probably the most normal thing you've said this entire episode. Usually you have a whole gift shop and everything. That was, yeah, that's the most normal thing this guy said. And he said he wants to show him something more with the museum. So they take him somewhere else, and in this dark room, it turns out it's like a statue of his father. It's a mannequin, I guess is what the father wore. And he starts talking about, "Oh, well, my father was a great man. Without all the times he physically punished me, I would have been a great pianist and a great person overall." And Darius calls him out like, "No, there are better ways to parent. Your father is lame for that. He's whack for that." And he got on his feels, which I guess makes sense because that's his father and whatever. And I was like, so does this abusive backstory come into play as to why this Teddy Perkins is a very eccentric, at the least, character? But no, it doesn't really add. It just makes him look even more deranged. It doesn't really say anything more. And then so he gets his text from Al Darius, and he said, "You dead yet?" I was like, "Oh God." That was funny to me, but it really wasn't real quick because later on we were like, he actually might die this episode. Upon hearing that freaking text, he's like, "Hey, can we hurry this up? Are there papers you gotta sign?" So he goes up to where the piano is, which I think is the same room they were before. So again, we know he's lying because Benny isn't there. If Benny was there sleeping, then why does it matter if he's in there? Because Benny's not in there. Mentiroso. So he tells him to sign these parts, and he says that he feels bad for him. He doesn't. He does, and he can imagine. He's trying to sympathize, saying, "I can imagine how it feels," and he snaps. Teddy is like, "No, you don't." I was like, "Uh-oh, he's really about to die. He's really about to die." And then so after he signs, he checks out the piano, and we get close up on this piano. And this tacky ass, he was suddenly his piano is all cool and everything. It is just crayons, sir. It is nothing elaborate. It is just crayons. The more you play it, it'll probably just go away. But what caught my eye and caught Darius' eye is that there was fresh blood on that piano. Although we don't figure out where that's from. That's some eerie shit. And then so Darius takes the piano. I was the computer. The piano downstairs by taking this elevator. But the elevator is broken, of course. And he takes him down to the bottom floor. And Darius like, okay, Destiny, I'll go. And I was like, no, Darius, you're too black to be just saying that type of shit. And then, Lord behold, when he goes into this basement, it's Benny. Benny's a real person. And Benny can't speak because he's afraid that Teddy will kill them. Wow. So he gives him a plan to, like, you should get the gun in the attic. So he's like, okay, cool, but I'm gonna put my piano away first. But he says that out loud as he's putting his piano away because somehow the elevator magically works. And I'm sitting here like, oh no, you should have just left. And then he doesn't because Teddy's car's in the way. And I'm sitting here like, if Teddy's car was in my way, I just drive on the grass. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. So he tries to go tell Teddy about it. And then he hears the piano playing, but instead it's a recording. And it was Tiano. Wow. Teddy playing the piano when he was younger and his father being very strict with him. And Teddy scares me in these scenes because he's like, you know, I was going to get something. I don't remember. All I remember is the boat up. And where I was right next to the attic. And I was like, at the attic? That's where the gun is. Interesting. You know what I found in the attic? I was like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. He pulled out this gun. And this was not... When it said the gun was in the attic, I thought it was just going to be like a little, you know, little handgun. He pulls out this two-handed ass gun. I was like, Which, by the way, I think is very similar to what Rose had in Get Out. Again, I already made a whole theory on another Atlanta episode being Get Out, so I'm not going to do that again because I'm pretty sure everyone else has done that, so it would even be unique. But, what was I going to say? But yeah, he takes out this gun, okay, and he threatens him to shoot. He threatens to shoot, and he was like, Benny doesn't exist. He was like, I know, because I'm going to frame this as a home invasion. And I was like, what? What? So he makes Darius sit in the chair, and he makes Darius lock himself up. And then Darius is talking about how life is precious, and it should be filled with love, not filled with sacrifices. That's not necessary. And Teddy wasn't having it. But you know who else wasn't having it? Benny. Benny just randomly pulls up, and he takes the gun, and he shoots Teddy. I was like, oh my gosh. I wasn't that bothered because I didn't really like Teddy. That nigga was creepy as hell and he needed the finest of seats. But then he takes this little thing that Darius has, because thank God Darius got protection, this little spear thingy that you get like next to chimneys. And Darius not knowing what he was going to do with it, he gives it to him. And he shoots himself. So I get really scared. Because this is a creepy situation, very unnerving. But I'm scared for Darius. Darius in the house with two white men, because I think they're both black. But one got a skin conditioning, the other just painted himself. Not painted himself, but like bleached himself black. White. So this looks really bad, but the episode doesn't end with him going to jail or whatever. I guess he explained it and they believed it. Like, how did you even tell the police about what happened? Like, that just doesn't make any sense. I don't know. But yeah, this episode was wild. This episode was creepy. This episode was a lot of words. Muchas palabras. But what do y'all have to say about this? Drop them in the comments below. I'm so shook by it. And honestly, I just finished On My Block too. So after watching On My Block, I wasn't... Actually, no, I was about to say a spoiler. But anyway, point is, both of the endings got me shook. And I just finished Jessica Jones and that ending got me shook too. Y'all pray for me, because I freaking need it. But yeah, tell me what y'all thought of the episode. Thank you all so much for watching. And...